Welcome back to the Her Gems podcast. It is your beautiful host, Caitlin. And in this space, we have hashtag Girl Talk. We discuss topics about mental health, body positivity, and I drop gems as it relates to my life with the hopes that you gain encouragement and inspiration for yourself. These are her gems. Maybe they can be yours too. All right, so I am back with another episode, and in this episode, I am going to talk about what's been hard and easy for me during quarantine, and I have a certain bone to pick with the media as it relates to anti-fatness and discrimination. So let's get right into it. So what's been hard for me and what's been easy for me during quarantine? What's been hard for me is the blurred line between work and my personal life. Like, I really truly enjoy working from home, but it really has been a struggle for me to find that balance between doing my work and doing my personal life things. And it's I could be working for, an hour, and then next thing you know, something comes up and I need to do it, and I'll just get distracted, and it's really hard for me to stay motivated. It's I don't see how stay-at-home moms and people who normally work from home do it. Unless they are on a strict schedule or something like that, but man, it has been a transition for me. I struggled really hard last week or the week before last, where I started to pick up my hobbies again, and I wanted to do more of my hobbies than I wanted to do my work, and I had to sort of reparent myself and force myself to do my actual work. So that has been really hard for me. And honestly, I've just been what has been helping me is reminding myself that this job is what I prayed for, and, remembering where I was when I was praying for this job. That kind of gives me that motivation to push through. It's just so different, being in the comfort of my home, and having to do my work versus, getting up, getting dressed, and going into the office and having no choice but to work for the 8 hours, even if I feel unmotivated. I just had that, push then, but now it's just man, the lines are blurred and they borderline crisscrossing at this point, honestly, because I just don't even know, sometimes what is what. Things seem mentally harder to do than actually doing them. So I have this big old stack of papers that I need to organize, and it's been really intimidating. But throughout the weeks that I've been here, the moments when I would get up and do it, it would actually make me feel productive, and it'll just satisfy that I guess I would call it a professional bone that I have, where I just feel that I feel cute and professional and stuff like that. Once I actually start doing my work, it just feels good. So that's where I'm at with that. Something that has been easy for me is my self-care. I have gotten into the habit of if I'm feeling stressed or something like that, instead of me going to go and eat my favorite snacks all the time, which there's nothing wrong with that, but instead of me eating up all the snacks, because snacks cost money, I do something go and put my favorite lotion on my hands. I'll go and wash my hands and put my favorite lotion on my hands, or I light some candles or make me some tea or something like that. A nice shower in the middle of the day, during quote unquote lunchtime, really gets me more relaxed and just helps me to not be so stressed. And another thing that has been really great and easy for me is allowing my creative juices to flow. It's really interesting the way I process and create things. I'm observing how that is happening for me and what that experience is like. And I have my high moments and I also have my low moments, but I have a favorite moment too, where I get that urge to actually get up and do a project that I have on my mind, and I feel inspired to do so. So my thing now is, if I feel resistance to creating, actually creating, I just wait and I trust that When it's time, I will feel it. And when I feel inspired, I do it and I enjoy it so much versus trying to push myself past the resistance, because I have to constantly remind myself, like, this is a hobby. This is something that, is adding substance and layers into my life that are good, right? So I want to keep it that way. I want to continue to like have these little things in my life that I do, like podcasting or writing or reading. Right now I am reading The Handmaid's Tales, which is so good. It's so good. I mean, literally. And I don't know, some people prefer, y'all let me know, some people prefer watching the show, no, reading the book first, then watching the show. But I'm grateful. I'm happy that I watched the show first and then read the book, because I haven't been into reading as much as I used to when I was younger. Sometimes reading certain things can be a little difficult. But because I watched the show before, I kind of have a gist. Like, I have a head start on what's happening and like the language that they're using and stuff like that. So it has been so good. Oh my God. I feel like when I'm reading it, girl, I forgot how much I enjoy reading books and like what it does for me. So yeah, I have been doing that and I just enjoy it. I love it. I'm just so grateful to have these little bits and pieces of things that I enjoy doing in my life. And I want to keep it that way. Like I said, if I feel that resistance, I don't push myself to participate in that thing because it won't be as enjoyable. And I deserve to have things in my life that are strictly for my enjoyment only. And if it doesn't feel like in that moment I will enjoy it, then I get to like pivot and do something else, or not do anything at all and just allow myself to, pout and throw, little tantrums or whatever. But therapy has really been helping me live my life in that gray area where I don't feel like I have to become like this huge podcast host, or I don't have to be an avid reader right off bat. I haven't read books in so long, like books outside of educational books or self-development books, like just regular fictional books just for pure entertainment. I haven't done that in a while. So, to expect for me to like just jump back into that is just unrealistic. To expect for me to be this big podcast host and have this huge audience, that's unrealistic. But just like adding those things into my life in small bits and pieces really help me like enjoy my life. It really just adds that substance and layers and good layers into my life that make me feel good, make me feel, productive and cute and sexy and what I'm saying, all those good things. All right, so the next topic, I'm going to keep this one short because I get super emotional and it gives me a headache. And it's about how the media is okay with discriminating against fat people and calling it entertainment. So the other day, I started watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and it was such a triggering episode. There was so much fat phobia being displayed, and I was just so disappointed. Like, okay, so there's this one contestant who was a fat guy on there, and I noticed right off bat that the show showed a lot of clips of him being made fun of in regards to his size, and they showed it way more than they did others. So there were other like little instances where I saw people talking bad about other people, but not as much as him. And it was just so cringy to me. It broke my heart a little bit. Even talking about it now, I'm just super disappointed in that show, especially one that is already about marginalized people. They literally showed him being bullied by another contestant. The contestant was calling him out of his name, making fun of him. They even I think the guy like called him something like Porky in like one of the interviews. And when he showcased his outfit, that was something that really tripped me out. This scene was so the competition that they had was to create an outfit that represented their personalities. And so when he walked down the aisle, there was a part where he had a spoon with food on it and pretended to eat it. And the first thing that I thought was that eating is not a personality trait. And it's a shame that he would feel it necessary to highlight the fact that he does something as normal as everyone else. But because he's fat, it's something he felt he had to identify himself with. Like, it's no wonder people have disordered eating or food insecurities along with body shame and body hate, because you can't win for losing. In this culture, we moralize food. We place value on food choices and exercise when not everyone has access to food, and not everyone can move their bodies the same way. So the message sent to those who don't have access to those things is that they are less valued. And it's just annoying. It's like once you see something, once you learn something, you just can't unsee it. And watching that just completely turned me off, especially a show about a group of people who themselves experience so much hate and discrimination. Very disappointing. Like, why would you do that to someone else? And it was so blatant. Like they showed many clips of him being called out of his name. It was another clip where they showed the one contestant like putting his hands on him. Like, I don't know if he was like trying to take his hat or like push on him or something like that, but it was weird. It was disgusting, and I'm super disappointed. And so I'm done with that show. I watched the first episode, and I was just done. There was another show that I recently watched that was called The Game, and it used to show on BET. And there was one episode where Melanie, which was one of the main characters, she had a friend over, and the friend was upset about something, and she told Melanie like, "Oh, I'm gonna be as big as you." And Melanie was like, "Girl, I'm a size 5." And the other girl was like, "Ugh, I know." And I cringed, y'all. When I tell y'all, the cringe went from head to toe. I was just like, oh my God. Like, the messages that you are sending to your viewers is that it's not okay to be a size 5. A size 5, like, really? Like, come on. Like, media is more than just entertainment. It literally shapes our culture and the way that we think. And it's just upsetting how fat shaming and discrimination is disguised as entertainment. That's just like, someone black on television being called a N-word because of their skin tone, or, being like having jokes made about their skin tone and calling it entertainment. But of course, that the racism movement has progressed way further than the anti-fat movement. So you don't see much of that. Like, that's just total discrimination. But it's just sad. And like, so when I started hearing information about like how weight is stigmatized and why dieting doesn't work, I literally started feeling better about myself. I realized that my body was never wrong, but that the way I was thinking about and taught about my body was just a product of diet culture. And diet culture literally is it's rooted in making people feel crappy about their bodies to sell products for money. This culture and the way it normalizes discrimination based on someone's looks is wrong, y'all. And I'm sick of it. Like, I literally, I can't take it anymore. And going back to that other show, RuPaul's Drag Race, I really, it really tipped the hat when the fat guy was the one to be, he was eliminated first. I was done. Okay. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. And it was just, yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard to watch. And I hope that, this little rant, gives you guys perspective on why it is so toxic and damaging in this culture, in this society for fat people, or people of size, plus size people, whatever you want to call them, why that is damaging, and how it is discrimination. You are judging someone based on the way that they look. And it is the exact same thing as you being judged for your sexuality. It is the exact same thing as you being judged for your skin color. It is the same thing. People who are judging other people because of their size, 9 times out of 10 are not doctors. So you cannot tell someone's health based on their weight. Okay, so miss me with all the obesity pandemic and all of that bull crap. No, do your research. Look up HAES with the acronym. Well, the acronym is HAES, and it stands for Health at Every Size. And it'll lead you to more people who have done the true work, the real work of body liberation, by acceptance of all body sizes, shapes, and yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I'm getting upset, so I'm going to get off this topic. All right, so this next topic is regarding finances and my mindset around it and some thought work that I had to do. So I was doing my budget for May, and the last few months, I think maybe even starting maybe March. Not March. I don't know. But I have been really doing well with my money and my spending habits. And a few episodes ago, I talked about this Excel sheet that I created that allows me to track my money and to sort of just visually see what my money is doing and where it is going and to manage it well. So as I was doing my budget for May, some feelings came up and I was like, okay, what's going on? So I started to write, and what came up was I was like, okay, if I become a great steward of money, what else would I need God for? And let me know if it's just me. I honestly think that mindset contributes to this sort of sabotage that I do with my money every so often, where I will spend my money down to the last dollar. But because of I have been managing my money a little bit better, I haven't been spending as much. I have money left over just to do whatever I want to do with. And that makes me feel uncomfortable and vulnerable. It just makes me feel okay, what do I need to do with this money? And what does that mean if I don't, if I'm not struggling for money, if I'm not struggling with it. So I wrote out that the poverty mindset is, for me, I am used to living life where I have to spiritually and mentally strive for money. And as I was writing, it started to all come out. There's this thing that I do where okay, I spend all of my money. I then have to either work super hard to get it all back or ask someone to borrow the money. I feel not desperate, but I kind of feel oh, I'm in a bind. I need help, and I have to depend on God. And I pray and I ask God to, bless me financially, and He does. And so I realized that, okay, if I steward my money well, I won't need Him like that anymore. I won't need Him in that way anymore. And that just makes me feel uncomfortable and sad. I never had the example of someone who had financial stability and financial security. So to be at a place in my life now where I have the opportunity set up to where I have, a cushion of money in place, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. And so I just had to talk myself down. I told myself, that I will always need God financially, just in a different way. And I pray, Lord, just help me to maintain an abundance mindset with my money and help me retain this way of thinking, because it's really hard to struggle with managing your money. When you don't have that control over your money, over your finances, it makes you feel crazy. But all things, there's a certain addiction to that pattern, and there's a certain safety, if I struggle financially the way that I've done in the past, I know what that feels like. Okay. I know what, being down to my last dollar and having to pray to God for a blessing, and He blesses me with it. I know what that feels like for me. So, to not need Him in that way, to not repeat those same patterns feel not so great for me. But I was thinking about it and I'm like, okay, so someone like, for example, Jay-Z, who does not have to worry about money at all. Okay, he has more than enough money in his bank account right now to never have to worry about money ever again. And it's like, okay, what would he do? Like, what is he doing? Like if he's not worrying about spending his last dollar and having to like ask God for more money, what is he doing? And I know that this might sound a little weird. Let me know if you guys can relate. But just realizing that just helped me to see how I was subconsciously holding myself back financially. Like I would continue to repeat those patterns because that's what I know. I know, like I said, what it feels like to need God for money and for him to bless me. Like when I'm down to my last. I know some of y'all listening, have been in positions where you needed money for something and you get on your knees and you pray and, you work hard to get it and then you finally get it. And it's that feeling of like triumph and you've won something. And I think in a sense, I'm addicted to that. I'm used to that. And I say all that to say that, it's fun. It's funny how that is like that. I'm just saying. Now I'm just talking, but I just wanted to just sort of throw that out there. You guys let me know if that's something that you struggle with, like when it comes to money. Like, is this something you ever thought about? Like why you continue to repeat the same patterns financially? Could it be that you are addicted to that way of needing God? Because like if you don't need God in that way, that means that you're going to move up to another level and you're going to need him in another way that you don't even know about. Like, I don't know I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know how not to need God for money financially. And it kind of makes me feel like I'm offending God. Like, I'm like, God, I don't need you, for this money or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. But however, I think that in that thought work, in me having this conversation with myself, it put things in perspective for me. And it helped me to see like it helped me to clarify the pattern, and once you see something, it's kind of hard to ignore it and dismiss it. And I still have a long way to go as far as like being a great steward of my money, but I am striving to do better. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that. And this is the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got some little nuggets. What y'all think about my new little intro? I just recorded a little sign. I thought it was a little clever and cute. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll talk to you next time.